Hi, I'm Amy Godfrey from the Department of Chemistry, and I teach a rather large course with 200, 300, 400 students a term, and discovered that I needed help. There were many more students than there were of me, and so needed a system to help manage all the questions that I was getting from students. I wanted to encourage those questions to keep coming in, but I didn't want to be doing email constantly. Piazza has been a great tool to help with that, and so I want to spend a few minutes with you showing you how I manage all the questions that come in through Piazza, how you can encourage students to participate in Piazza in both asking and answering questions, and how you can deal with some things like inappropriate questions, and how you can keep all of your questions and all of your material organized. Because if you're anything like me and have lots of questions, that's going to be a challenge, keeping them organized, answering them, and using them as effectively as possible. And now comes the exciting part, the Q&A tab from the very top, the question and answer page. This is the home page, if you will, the first page everyone sees when they log in, because it's where the heart of Piazza is, the questions and answers. And when you initially set up your page, this is what it looks like. You have the enrolled students, other TAs and instructors, setting up your course page. That's what it's set up like for you. And you will initially receive, if you go over here to the left, you will receive a couple of messages already, or questions, answers, actually really notes. And so that's under today, what's been posted for you today when you've created your site. The first is telling you how to introduce Piazza to your students. And Piazza's sort of done this for you. You can post a welcome note. Now, a note will come up and all your students will see it in Piazza. It's not a question because it doesn't need an answer, it doesn't need a response, but it's a note because it contains important information. So you say, students, welcome to Piazza. We'll be conducting all class-related discussion here this term. Very important to note. The quicker you begin asking questions on Piazza rather than via emails, the quicker you'll benefit from the collective knowledge of your classmates and instructors. We encourage you to ask questions when you're struggling to understand a concept. You could even do so anonymously. So I take this welcome message and I actually turn it into my own post. I do edit it, and you're allowed to do that here. Usually I don't go by my first name to my students. I usually prefer to go by Dr. Godfrey, so I would put that here. And otherwise it looks pretty good. And if I want to use it as a note, I can do that, or I can continue to edit some more. If I click Add Post, you'll see that it popped up in the left there. There's a Welcome to Piazza post. It has a red square, so it's a note, and it's from the instructor. And the instructor gets a different color, different designation than students do. All right, so it added the note here. If we go back to the right, it says to include this blurb in your syllabus, and I include something similar to this in the syllabus. This term we're using Piazza for discussion. Please direct your questions there, and that will tell students that that's where you expect to answer questions. I still do occasionally get student emails with questions. With over 400 students, that's bound to happen. Somebody won't read the directions or hear what you said in class. So if students email me a question, what I do is I reply back. Thank you very much for your question. We will be answering all questions on Piazza so that we can help out one another. And in fact, posting on Piazza sometimes gets you an answer faster than you would get if you were to send me an email, because somebody else might see your question and answer it before I get to it. Somebody else might also have the same question and be able to benefit from your work. So I will go and I will post your question on Piazza and answer it there. And that's what I do the first time somebody emails me a question. And when I go to Piazza, what I do is I say, a student emailed me this question. Since we're answering all questions on Piazza, I posted it here, and then I'll answer it. And students usually catch on pretty quickly. Last but not least, Piazza prompts you to post your office hours, which you can do as a post if you like. I will warn you, those initial posts sometimes don't get seen. I know for my class, Piazza's a question and answer. We start at the beginning of the term. Students don't have a lot of questions about content right off the bat. And so sometimes they don't see what you initially post. And you have to almost repost these to move them up into the question and answer order. I'll talk some more about that a little bit later on. Other posts from Piazza. So this is a private post, the Introduce Piazza to your students. That's the one we're looking at now. And you'll notice there's no longer, a blue circle right here. So the blue circle that's here indicates the message is unread. The lack of blue circle means you read the message. So it tells you, okay, I've looked at that, so you don't have to go back and read it again. We click down to the next note that Piazza sends us, and these are private. These are private notes. That means that only you as the instructor will see these notes. Okay, so we go down to get familiar with Piazza. You can go through and check out the different aspects of Piazza, read through that note. And then the third private note is tips and tricks for a successful class. And these are just some tips for you. We've talked about reducing inbox clutter, posting all the questions on Piazza rather than via email. Set the tone of the class. We, from the very beginning, tell students you're going to be answering questions about content on Piazza. There's also some logistics questions you can answer there because we have that logistics folder. In order to get students to participate, only answer students' questions there, but this next tip right here to endorse or encourage student responses, I'll tell you how to give the students a thumbs up or good question or good response to encourage them. Positive reinforcement. Encourage collaborative editing. Is really, really hard to get students to edit another student's work. They want to add something new, but you try and encourage that. And visual posts are interesting and challenging depending on what you're teaching. Some disciplines lend themselves really well to verbal descriptions and words. I know in the sciences, equations are very helpful, and so you try and get them to post equations, and some students will take a picture and post that, and you can post content from outside of that. And then keeping your class on track. Tips here, this will be important as you start to get more and more questions. We've talked about how to use folders to help keep that organized. I'll show you how that works with question and answer in a minute. How you link to other questions, mark questions as duplicate, and edit and delete anything you don't want to be there. All right, great. So we've gone through our private post, the tips from Piazza to help you out. We've created our first welcome to Piazza note that students will see. Okay, so anything that's not private, the students will not see these 3 messages right here. The students do see this welcome to Piazza message, so we can click on that. And that gets rid of our blue circle telling us we read it. And this is the welcome to Piazza that Piazza sends out. It's a note to students. It encourages them to ask questions, to edit questions and answers wiki style. Again, it's really hard to get them to do. Add a follow-up to comment or to ask a further question. You can go anonymous. You can tag your post. It's just a little bit hard to do too. You can format code and equations, and then view and download class details and resources. And this number 7, again, is the course page with the homework assignments or the announcements that I don't use Piazza for because I don't mandate it for all my students.